So this is JC Swinegruber with the Appalachian Authors Guild, and we wanted to do some videos over the course of the next couple of months for our members of the AAG who maybe don't get a chance to come out to our meetings, Susan, and don't really know some of us that are there, some of us on the evening Zooms, and we wanted to do a meet the board type of discussion with each board member so people can kind of get to know who we are and what we do at the AAG and kind of our goals and things going forward. So, Susan Dickenson, thanks again for being here today. You are one of the board members. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how long have you been with the Guild?
I've only been with the Guild since July of 2024. I saw an ad actually in Voice Magazine um, that Jan Carroll puts out, and that interests me because I needed a little bit of help, a little bit of push to try to move my writing forward. And so I filled out the little application on the website and emailed with Vicki and went to the first meeting, I think, in July of 2024, I think.
Yeah, so I remember actually I get to a lot of those in-person meetings, and it's always nice when you see like new faces. So over the course of the last few years, as I've been a member, it's kind of cool seeing new faces come in, and especially during workshops that we have, it's kind of fun and getting to know people. And I think AAG has been a really good way. I don't know about for you, but to make new friends and kind of build some lasting friendships and some, I guess, people that can kind of push you along in your writing too and give you the encouragement you need. Now, what did you do before you joined the AAG? Did you have an affiliation with Jan Carroll Publishing?
Just a couple of short stories. I saw on her website about their anthologies, and I thought, I can do that while I'm trying to work on my novel. I'll try to do a couple of things so I can get some exercises in with writing, and submitted a couple and got those published.
No, was that your first time starting to write, or have you been writing for a long time?
I've actually been writing for a long time. I started in probably elementary school, just little short stories here and there, and poetry. But I think it was probably, I started working for a bookstore, B. Dalton, when it was in the Bristol Mall.
Oh, I remember that one.
And I thought, I could do this. I would read a few books here and there so I could help our customers select things that they would like to read. And we got to read a lot of books at B. Dalton. I thought, I can really do this. So probably about 1999 is when I started researching the novel that I'm working on, which has been embarrassingly a long time ago.
Well, that's a long time to have that passion to know that you want to do something like that, and it's kind of encouraging for other people who've had an idea for a long time and just never really got started or didn't know where to start or how to get started or what to do. So sometimes those things take a while to percolate. Do you have a copy of the book where you have submissions of the anthology?
Yeah, the most recent, if you can see that, I've got a black bar across the top of my screen for some reason. That way you can see a little bit better. This one is Christmas All Year Long, and the story that I wrote in that is Do You Hear What I Hear? And it's a little bit of an inspirational Christmas story that I had kind of written a long time ago and just kind of put on the back shelf and thought I would spoof it up a little bit and submit it.
So when you first started writing, tell us a little bit about your experience about that, because I think a lot of people, they have very different experiences when it comes to their own writing and the process. How smooth did that go, or how difficult was it for you?
I think it's a little difficult because I'm never satisfied with. I go back and reread. I think that's my biggest mistake is I reread what I wrote and think, well, that needs to be a little clearer, or it needs to be cleaner, or I need to use different words, and I overhit it. And so the process has been long and arduous, I guess.
What I was kind of curious about what what inspired you to first start writing anyway in the first place?
Um, the first book, the romance genre, the first romance book I ever read was called A Knight in Shining Armor by Jude Devereaux. And her, it's such a great book. And the research that she did, it's a time travel romance novel. And I love the way that she was able to write the historical aspect, but also write modern day and like from a modern day woman's point of view, going back in time. I just thought that was great. I'm a huge sci-fi fan, so that kind of um, ticked both boxes for me of the romance and the sci-fi.
Yeah, that I
And
wanted
that
to.
just,
Oh, go ahead.
I said that just kind of spurred me on to, think about things. And then when I worked at the bookstore, I thought, yeah, I could really do this.
So I did want to ask you, and all of us that everyone that I know that's a member of the guild that I've met personally are just voracious readers, and I know that you read a lot too. Did you have some favorite authors, and what are you reading right now?
My favorite author, I think, is Jane Austen. And I wish I had read her earlier in my youth and been able to absorb the lessons of her book, but all of her books. But she's one of my favorites. Um, but I also like, there's another book called it's The Story of Heathcliff's Journey Back to Wuthering Heights. It's Lynn Hare Sargent. And I like the book Wuthering Heights, but this book is from Heathcliff's point of view of going back to Wuthering Heights. And it's such a great book. Um, and like, it's the other books I'm thinking about. Grendel, I like the book Grendel. I can't remember who wrote that one actually. But it's Grendel's point of view. So I kind of like to read things that are written in opposition to like the original classic.
Yeah, that really takes a not just a skilled writer, but someone with an incredible imagination to actually dance on both sides of point of view of characters. And I haven't read much. The only thing I've read that did that was if you're a Stephen King fan, um, we all know. I'm trying to think of the name of the one with the movie with Corey Haim, and he was in a wheelchair. The werewolf. Why am I drawing a blank on that particular book? But
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it
so
either.
anyway, that book that he did was such a big popular movie. It was a great book, and years later he wrote another story from the perspective of the werewolf, the preacher in the book. It's called Cycle of the Werewolf, and it was so cool to see like the other side of that, and
Yeah.
how he thought he was doing something righteous for the town. Like like anyway, it was. And then he realized what he was. It was just if you haven't read it, it's a really interesting take on it. But you're right. It's really neat how people can write from that other side like that. I'm gonna go pick that book up now that you mentioned. I've never read, didn't even know there was a perspective from Heathcliff's point of view
From
and
Grendel.
Wuthering Heights and Grendel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's very interesting. Because you read Beowulf and you're like, oh, the hero, and the monster, and then you read Grendel and you're like, oh, that from Grendel's point of view, I won't give it away for you, but it's a really great read.
um, one of the things, and I was fortunate enough that you shared some of what you've written in your novel you're working on now, and I've got to beta read some of it, and it flows so well, and
Thank you.
I'm really enjoying the story. So I can't wait for you to share more of it. I know you're working on it, but you read a book, you get to like get into the storyline. You're like, all right, where's the rest? So now everybody's kind of like, hey, hurry up,
Yeah.
But that's good. Yeah, it's one way. We here at the Guild we do love to encourage people to to finish their work and can like work on the next thing and always being encouraging. And I wanted to ask you as far as like your time with the Guild, like what have you gotten out of the Guild, and kind of for other members that may be watching, what kind of goals do you have for the what do you want to see from the other members that are out there? What kind of like hopes do you have for them?
Um, I hope that we can all share our experiences, our writing experiences, and um, encourage each other. Sometimes it's hard to write or think that you're doing the right thing. And I know Chrissy did that workshop that I really enjoyed about the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Um, I really like to go to those workshops, and I hope that we can do a lot more of those. I know we have a lot lined up for this year that I'm really excited about. Um,
Yeah. I think the workshops have been really, really helpful. And for members that are watching, like we have members that have over 30 books under their belt and many that are starting their first time. And yeah, and I've been writing for, 25 years, since 2000, 1999. And even from newer writers, I always learn something from somebody because everybody has a different point of view, an experience, and a perspective. And it's so neat that, and I love it when newer writers show up. Brand new writers, brand new members show up at the meetings, because you can always learn something about their approach and what their goals are and what they're doing that works for them in selling books, which is the hardest part. Well, a very hard part, selling books, right? I mean, we can write, but it's kind of tough to sell too. Um, but the workshops I think have been very helpful. I'm looking forward to those too. And we do evening Zooms for those that are watching. We have a once a month on the second Thursday of each month. We have an evening Zoom/workshop, and it's more like a roundtable discussion. It's not really you have a teacher in a class. It's always something. You can maybe have somebody has an outline of something they're talking about, but then everybody contributes. And we do have some good workshops in person too. And Stephen James is coming next month, and he's an amazing author. He's taught workshops around the world, and he shows up for us once a year at the AAG. And I think he's probably, what is he, a bestseller? I think he's been on the bestseller list at one point. So it's really great to have him because I always learn a lot about structure and and way I guess ways to approach your writing. So really good stuff. Yeah, I always encourage everybody else because I love seeing people succeed. And there's nothing in the world. And I'll ask you this too: as you finish a chapter or as you get close to finishing your book, even when you finish a short story, what is that feeling like when you've completed that? I mean, the rough draft of something. How do you feel when you get to that point?
Relief, relief, and excitement. All relief that I got it done, and excited that I did get it done, and maybe small amount of pride.
Yeah, there's really no really. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's always a. I mean, I know the big work of the editing is still there. I mean, that's
Yeah,
a heavy load, but when you finish that first rough draft and your story, you just unloaded that. God, it's such a weight off your shoulders in a way, don't you think? And yeah. So anyway, so tell us a little bit about your book and when you expect that to come out.
it's called Fires of the Heart. Tentatively, I've been thinking about changing the title here and there as I'm writing. Um, and I actually um, it's about a young woman named Elizabeth, and of course, it's set in the Middle Ages. And in the Middle Ages, you kind of had your future worked out for you if you were female. And she's kind of um, not liking the way her dad wants to go. And she has her own vision of her life. And there's a little bit of a supernatural element to it, too. Um, and she meets who is going to become, the love of her life. But just like with other things or other stories, it's not working out so well at the beginning, and they have to get to know each other, and some things will happen that kind of tear them apart. Do a little story arc with a little negativity. That's the way a romance novel works. Um, and this is one of my problems is I get a story arc and then I think, oh, I don't really quite like the way that's going. Erase, go back, redo, redo my outline. And I know
Yeah.
that some people don't do outlines, but that's the way I have to do it, is to sort of outline the story so that I can keep on track with what I want to do.
Yeah, that's outlining is a very important part of the process. Now I know there are some writers like Stephen James that'll show up next month to discuss, do a workshop with us. Um, some people just write by the seat of their pants, and that's how he does it. But I can't. I gotta have a road to stay in the lanes, and leave enough room for creativity. I suppose that's how you approach it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you kind of have to feed the beast, that is you. It's a bad way of saying that, but you can't write the way someone else writes, or you're never going to write anything. If you
Yeah.
try to fit someone else's format, you really have to follow your own authentic self in the way that you work your process.
I think that's good advice for all writers, those that are brand new, maybe watching too, because you might have a favorite writer. Like mine's F. Scott Fitzgerald. Don't ever hold your own writing up to your favorite writer's standard because you're going to fail that all the time. Hold it up to your own standard. Find your own voice, and that's on your first work. That's always a tough thing to do, and you kind of realize when you get about halfway through it, oh, that's my voice. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know if you found that too. Like you said, you had to go back and do a lot of rewrites. And when I first started, man, I butchered that one up terribly bad. And I don't know how many times I went back to rewrites over the years, like for 20 years, before I finally sort of got the book right. And I wish I'd have known all that in the beginning.
yeah,
But I didn't have a guild or other writers to talk to or anybody to learn from like that. So I think that's one of the important things that the Appalachian Authors Guild offers. So if you're watching and you're not a member and you're considering being a member of a guild or ours, feel free to join. Or if you're not from the area or live in the area, find a local guild and go out and meet some fellow writers, make some new friends, learn a few new things. Even if you're 20 books in, you always learn something new from somebody else, and that's one of the fun things about being part of the guild. Well, Susan, anything else you want to add before we close? But certainly appreciate you coming on and introducing yourself to the membership.
yeah. I really appreciate being asked to do this, and being asked to be on the board, because I am so new. But I would encourage anyone to come to the meetings and uh, just chat with everyone, and you'll pick up things along the way, um, that will help you, and encourage you, and you can do the same with the other members. You can encourage, just by listening and letting someone tell you their story. It's very encouraging.
Yeah, and I'm going to pull up the website. So if anybody wants to check out the website, it's appalachianauthors.com. And it's a pretty good website. So spend some time on there, some resources you can follow, and then, of course, the application on there. So it's appalachianauthors.com. Susan, thanks again. And I guess I'll see you at the in-person meeting and then next month on our Zoom call. It's going to be a good year. So I look forward to hearing about everybody's success and progress. And
I'm really looking forward to it too.
All right. Hey, thanks again, everybody, for viewing. And we'll be back soon with another board member to introduce. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you down the road.